Let me start with a simple question. Have you noticed that money feels harder now, even though you're trying more than ever to manage it? You're more aware. You're more careful. You're learning about money management, budgeting, saving, investing, and yet financial peace still feels far away. Not because you're broke, not because you're careless, and not because you're bad with money, but because the rules quietly changed. In 2026, money no longer behaves the way it used to. It doesn't wait for you to sit down and plan. It doesn't ask for your attention. It doesn't slow down so you can think. Money now moves automatically. Bills pay themselves. Subscriptions renew silently. Apps offer credit instantly. Fees hide inside convenience. And while all of this happens in the background, most people are still operating with an old wealth mindset. One designed for a slower, simpler financial world. That mismatch creates stress. Not sudden stress, but constant low-level financial pressure. The kind that makes people say, I don't know where my money goes anymore. I earn more, but I feel less secure. I'm trying to manage my money, but it never feels enough. Here's the uncomfortable truth. This is not a money problem. It's a mindset problem. Not because your mindset is weak, but because it hasn't been updated for how money works today. For decades, personal finance advice was built on stability. Stable jobs, predictable expenses, clear financial paths. If you worked hard, saved consistently, and followed the rules, things were supposed to work out. But 2026 is different. We're living in a world of economic uncertainty, constant price changes, rapid technology shifts, embedded finance, subscription-based living, and invisible financial decisions happening every day. Money management today is no longer just about discipline. It's about awareness. Because when money moves faster than your awareness, stress becomes permanent. That's why so many people feel financially overwhelmed even when they're doing the right things. They budget, but feel restricted. They save, but feel behind. They earn more, but feel trapped. Not because they lack effort, but because effort without the right wealth mindset leads to exhaustion, not freedom. And this is where most financial advice fails. It focuses on tactics. Cut expenses, increase income, invest earlier, but it ignores the most important factor: how you think about money in an uncertain world. In 2026, money is no longer something you interact with occasionally. It's something that's constantly interacting with you. Through your phone, through your apps, through your job, through your habits. And if your mindset isn't strong, money starts controlling your emotions instead of serving your goals. This video is not about predicting the economy. It's about preparing your mind. Because the people who build real financial freedom in the next decade won't be the ones who hustle the hardest. They'll be the ones who think the clearest. They'll understand why uncertainty is the new normal, why money management must evolve, why wealth mindset matters more than ever, and how to stay calm while others panic. This is not about fear, it's about clarity, because clarity creates control. Control creates confidence. And confidence is the foundation of long-term wealth. This is Financial Awakening with Aaron. And this video is about waking up to how money actually works now, so you can stop feeling behind and start feeling in control. For a long time, people believed uncertainty was just a phase. A recession comes, then recovery. A crisis hits, then stability. But in 2026, that belief is quietly breaking down. Because what we're experiencing now isn't a cycle, it's a shift. Economic uncertainty is no longer something we pass through, it's something we live inside. Prices don't just rise, they fluctuate. Jobs don't just change, they evolve constantly. Industries don't slowly adapt, they're disrupted overnight. And this constant uncertainty changes how people behave with money. When people don't feel financially safe, they stop planning long-term. They delay investing. They avoid learning new financial skills. They focus on short-term comfort instead of long-term freedom. Not because they're careless, but because uncertainty creates mental pressure, and pressure leads to reactive money decisions. This is where traditional money management advice starts to fail. Most personal finance rules were built for predictable environments. Stable income, clear career paths, fixed expenses. But when the environment becomes unstable, rigid financial thinking becomes a liability. In 2026, the people who struggle the most with money are not the ones earning the least. They're the ones still waiting for certainty before they take control. A modern wealth mindset accepts one hard truth. Clarity does not come before action. It comes after adaptation. Instead of asking, when will the economy stabilize? Financially awakened people ask, how flexible is my money if things change? That question alone reshapes money management. It shifts focus from prediction to preparation, from control to resilience. Because in an uncertain economy, financial freedom doesn't come from perfect planning. It comes from mental adaptability. And once your mindset adapts to uncertainty, money stops feeling chaotic and starts feeling manageable again. Most people believe they actively manage their money, but in 2026, that's no longer true. Not because people don't care, but because money has quietly moved into the background of daily life. You don't decide to pay bills anymore. They happen automatically. You don't pause to think about borrowing. Credit is offered instantly. You don't feel spending. You tap, swipe, or click. This is embedded finance. Financial services are no longer separate actions. They're built directly into apps, platforms, and routines. And here's the problem most people don't see. When money becomes invisible, awareness disappears. In the past, friction protected people. Cash made you feel spending. Manual transfers slowed decisions. Waiting periods created reflection. Now, speed has replaced thinking, and speed favors the system, not the individual. This is why so many people say, I don't know where my money goes anymore. It's not because they overspend recklessly. It's because small automatic decisions stack up silently. Subscriptions renew. Fees compound. Interest grows quietly. And because nothing feels dramatic, nothing feels urgent. This is why modern money management must start with awareness. Not fear. Not rejection of technology. Awareness. A strong wealth mindset doesn't fight embedded finance. It masters it. It asks, what's automated? What's recurring? What's quietly draining cash flow? Because what you don't see, you can't control. And what you can't control will eventually control you. In 2026, financial freedom doesn't come from doing more. It comes from noticing more. And once awareness returns, money management stops feeling overwhelming and starts feeling intentional again. There's a quiet frustration a lot of people don't talk about. They're earning more than they used to, yet they feel less secure. Not struggling, not failing, just uneasy. And that feeling confuses people because they were told that higher income equals better money management, that earning more automatically leads to financial freedom. But in 2026, that equation is breaking. Here's why. When income increases in today's system, your financial environment expands around you. Not intentionally, automatically. More services become available. More convenient options appear. More subscriptions promise to save time. More pressure shows up to maintain a certain standard. So instead of income creating breathing room, it creates complexity. And complexity without clarity creates stress. This is why many high earners still live paycheck to paycheck, not because they lack discipline, but because their money management never adapted to scale. They focused on earning, but not on structuring. A strong wealth mindset understands something important. Money doesn't disappear because you're careless. It disappears because it's unassigned. When income grows but intention doesn't, money gets absorbed by lifestyle defaults, and defaults are expensive. That's why real financial freedom doesn't start with making more money. It starts with directing money consciously, not reacting to what shows up, not accepting every convenience, not letting income decide your lifestyle for you, but choosing deliberately what actually supports your long-term peace. Now, quick pause. If you're someone who wants to move beyond surface-level money tips and actually build a strong wealth mindset and sustainable money management habits, make sure you're subscribed to Financial Awakening with Aaron. This channel is about clarity, not hype, about control, not shortcuts. And the next sections will go even deeper into how to structure money so it supports your life, instead of quietly stressing it. All right, let's continue. The people who thrive financially in this era aren't chasing higher income alone. They're simplifying decisions, reducing friction, and designing money systems that scale with them. Because when structure grows with income, security finally catches up. There's a question most people never ask when making money decisions. Not, can I afford this? But, what does this cost my time? In 2026, this question matters more than ever, because money problems today aren't just financial, they're energetic. People aren't only losing money, they're losing focus, they're losing clarity, they're losing mental space, and that loss quietly affects every other decision they make. This is where a powerful concept comes in: return on time invested. Every financial choice you make has a time consequence. Some decisions reduce mental clutter, simplify routines, create breathing room. Others add friction, increase obligations, demand constant attention. The mistake most people make is treating all expenses as equal. They're not. Some costs buy freedom, others quietly create chains. A strong wealth mindset doesn't just protect money, it protects attention, because attention is where discipline lives. When your time is constantly fragmented, money management becomes harder, not easier. You forget things, you rush decisions, you react emotionally. That's why many people feel like they're bad with money, when in reality they're just overloaded. Financially awakened people simplify on purpose, they remove decisions, they reduce noise, they design systems that require less thinking, not more. Not because they're lazy, but because they understand this truth. Clarity compounds faster than effort. When your time is protected, your money decisions improve naturally. You don't need extreme discipline. You need space. And once you start evaluating money decisions by how they affect your time and energy, money management stops feeling heavy and starts feeling intentional again. Once you start paying attention to time, another pattern becomes impossible to ignore. Convenience is never free. In today's financial system, convenience is packaged as relief. Faster delivery, one-click services, automatic renewals, hands-off subscriptions. Each one promises to save time. But here's the trade. Most people don't calculate. Convenience often converts time savings into permanent costs. A few extra dollars here, a small service fee there, nothing that feels dangerous in the moment. But over time, these costs don't just add up, they lock in. They become part of your baseline. This is what creates fee pressure. Not one big expense, but dozens of small ones that feel justified individually. And this is where money management quietly breaks down, because when expenses become default, they stop being questioned, they stop being reviewed, they stop being intentional. A strong wealth mindset doesn't reject convenience, it audits it. It asks, is this truly buying me time, or is it buying me comfort? Does this reduce mental load, or does it quietly expand my lifestyle? Most people don't struggle because they spend too much. They struggle because they stop deciding. Financially awakened people bring decision-making back, not aggressively, not obsessively, but periodically. They pause, they review, they realign. Because the goal of money management is not to eliminate enjoyment. It's to prevent slow erosion. When you regain control over convenience, you regain control over cash flow. And when cash flow is intentional, financial stress starts to loosen its grip. Once convenience and fee pressure become part of daily life, many people respond by tightening control. They budget harder, they track every dollar, they restrict spending, they promise themselves more discipline, and for a short time, it works. Then something breaks. Not the budget, the person. Because budgeting alone doesn't address the real issue. The issue isn't lack of control, it's decision fatigue. In 2026, people are making more micro-financial decisions than any generation before them. Every notification, every offer, every renewal. Budgeting tries to manage outcomes without reducing inputs. And that's why it feels exhausting. A strong wealth mindset understands this. Money management isn't about saying no more often. It's about needing to decide less. When people are overwhelmed, they don't overspend because they want to. They overspend because their mental energy is depleted. Financially awakened people design money systems that work even when motivation is low. They simplify categories. They automate intentionally. They remove friction where it matters. Not to avoid responsibility, but to preserve clarity. Because clarity is what allows discipline to last. Once budgeting shifts from control to design, money management stops feeling like punishment and starts feeling supportive. Once money systems are simplified, once decision fatigue is reduced, once budgeting becomes supportive instead of exhausting, a deeper realization starts to form. Most people weren't actually chasing money, they were chasing relief. Relief from stress, relief from pressure, relief from the feeling of being trapped by obligations. For decades, financial independence was described as one thing: never work again. But in today's world, that definition no longer fits reality, because many people who don't work are still anxious, and many people who work feel calm and in control. So the real question becomes, what does financial independence actually mean in an uncertain economy? In 2026, financial independence is less about escape and more about flexibility. It's the ability to pause without panic, to adjust without collapse, to say no without fear. It's knowing that if something changes, your job, your income, the economy, your entire life doesn't unravel. That kind of freedom doesn't come from a single number. It comes from margin. Margin in your schedule. Margin in your cash flow. Margin in your decisions. A strong wealth mindset prioritizes margin over excess. Not more commitments, fewer. Not more complexity, more space. Because space creates options. And options are what reduce fear. This is why true money management isn't about maximizing every dollar. It's about ensuring your life isn't so tightly optimized that one disruption breaks everything. Financially awakened people don't aim for perfection. They aim for resilience. They build lives that can bend without breaking. And once resilience is in place, money stops feeling like a threat and starts feeling like a tool again. Once you understand flexibility and resilience, another truth becomes clear. Money decisions are rarely logical. They're emotional. In uncertain times, emotions quietly take the lead. People don't spend because they calculated the numbers. They spend because they want relief. Relief from stress. Relief from pressure. Relief from feeling behind. This is why uncertainty changes spending behavior. When the future feels unstable, the present becomes louder. Small comforts feel justified. Quick wins feel necessary. Long-term thinking feels distant. And none of this makes someone bad at money management. It makes them human. A strong wealth mindset doesn't try to eliminate emotion. It learns to recognize it. Because the moment you can name an emotion, it stops controlling the decision. Financially awakened people pause before reacting. They ask, am I solving a real problem or trying to escape a feeling? That single pause changes everything. It turns emotional spending into intentional choice. And once emotion is acknowledged instead of ignored, money stops being a source of guilt and starts becoming a tool for stability again. By this point, one thing should be clear. Markets change, tools evolve, rules shift. But one thing compounds through every economy: mindset. Skills can become outdated. Strategies can stop working. Even income sources can disappear. But how you think about money determines how you respond when that happens. A weak mindset reacts. It panics. It freezes. A strong wealth mindset adapts. It doesn't need perfect information. It doesn't wait for certainty. It adjusts calmly and deliberately. This is why two people can face the same economic conditions and experience completely different outcomes. One feels overwhelmed. The other feels grounded. Not because they have more money, but because they have more clarity. Money management techniques come and go, but the ability to stay aware, stay intentional, stay emotionally disciplined, that ability never loses value. This is why financial education isn't about memorizing rules. It's about building internal stability so external chaos doesn't control you. Once that stability is in place, money stops being something you fear and becomes something you navigate. And that's what sets up the final shift, moving from understanding to alignment. Once mindset is solid, the next step is alignment. Not more information, not more tactics, but a simple structure that keeps money decisions grounded even when life gets noisy. This is the awake framework, not a checklist, a lens. A. Awareness. Know where money moves without your attention. Automatic payments, subscriptions, silent fees. W. Worth. Evaluate decisions by time and energy, not just price. Ask what supports your life, not just your budget. A. Alignment. Ensure spending reflects values, not impulse or pressure. Money should reinforce who you are becoming. K. Kill mindless convenience. Not all convenience is bad, but unexamined convenience is expensive. E. Emotional discipline. Pause before reacting. Name the emotion, then decide. This framework doesn't aim to control every dollar. It aims to keep you in control. Because in 2026, strong money management isn't rigid. It's responsive. And when structure and mindset align, financial decisions stop feeling heavy and start feeling natural. If you've stayed with me this far, then something important has already happened. You're no longer looking at money as a problem to fix, but as a system to understand. That shift alone puts you ahead of most people. Because in 2026, financial success doesn't belong to those who hustle the hardest. It belongs to those who stay aware, think clearly, and respond intentionally. You don't need to predict the economy. You don't need perfect timing. You don't need extreme discipline. What you need is a strong wealth mindset, grounded money management, and the ability to stay calm while others react. That's what this entire episode was about. Not fear, not shortcuts, but clarity. And clarity creates control. From here, the next step isn't doing everything at once. It's choosing one thing, one habit to question, one automatic decision to review, one expense to realign with your values. Small awareness compounds faster than big promises. If this video helped you see money differently, make sure you subscribe to Financial Awaken with Aaron. Leave a comment below. What's one money habit you're rethinking after watching this? I'd love to hear from you. Your answer might help someone else who's in the exact same place you were.